Hi, I'm Dr. Farah Kamangar, and welcome to the Future of Dermatology podcast. We're here to talk about the real science behind skin, the medical breakthroughs, the cosmetic innovations, and everything in between.
Hi, everyone. We are back. And guess what? Today, you get to see Steph Cullen, our podcast producer, live on camera. She's always there on all the episodes, but what she's doing is she's behind the scenes. She's turning off the camera. So she's been there with you this whole time, but you don't get to see her. 2 years ago, we just looked at the date and it was over 2 years ago. We did our first kind of behind the scenes. So we get to meet her. And that was a super popular episode because you're all also meeting her at our SF Derm events. And she's just such a fantastic human being. I thought it was like 6 months, but we realized it's 2 years. It's been too long before we did another behind the scenes. So, Steph, welcome. Introduce yourself. So excited to have you on camera.
Thank you. It is very weird to be on camera. I admittedly slightly forgot, which is why I'm wearing a t-shirt and not anything nicer.
You
And
look
you can see
fantastic.
my dog bowls and my dog bed back there because my 14-year-old dog has been coming to my studio with me lately because he's old and needs constant supervision.
I love it,
And
Steph.
yeah,
Yeah. I love it. And you know what? I have to say, I'm trying to look like I'm professional, but I'm wearing a scrub top and I have shorts underneath. So I
I
think
love it.
the podcast happens when it happens, and it's always amazing.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
And, there's been a lot going on this past year. The podcast, of course, is now 3 years old, has been incredibly successful. I think me and you have meetings every once in a while, go over numbers, and we're like, what? Oh my gosh. And it's always surprising. It's humbling. We're so proud of it. And then this summer, there's been so many things that we've kept up this cadence of every Tuesday episodes for over 3 years.
Yeah.
And this is probably the only kind of few months where we're like, oh man, we might only be able to do a once or twice a month episode up until August when we get back to it full force again. It's the first time in 3 years we've done that. And it's my fault, not Steph's, because Steph will keep going. Like she mentioned, she's having a flooding in her house. But she still keeps going. She'll bring her dog to work. It's a me thing. And we'll talk about all the things I'm doing, like opening a new practice, planning SF Derm 2026, DermGPT blowing up, all good things, all good things. But this was the time to catch up and kind of review what we've been doing. But Steph, yeah, like the podcast, can we just take a minute and talk about all the amazing work you're doing and how huge you've grown it? Can we just take a moment and
Oh,
give an homage?
yeah. So the future of dermatology has grown over the last 3 years by like an incredible amount. And it's so fun to watch because not only do I produce all the episodes, I also get to look at the data daily if I feel like it, which sometimes I do. And it's amazing because Dr. Farah, you've gone from just a couple of downloads to on the podcast platforms, you're getting over 700 downloads a month, which is incredible. And it's not just a single episode, it's however many episodes people might be listening to, but we have produced over 130 episodes in the last 3 years and total plays across all platforms. We're sitting now at about 40,000. And that's
Yeah.
plays between YouTube, between Spotify, between Apple, any of those podcast platforms. And it's just amazing to watch those numbers keep growing and growing and growing.
It's incredible stuff. And we've never really done like marketing. We're not on these platforms that rank you because there's some platforms you pay for and they put you on leaderboards. And that's just never been our vibe. But when we checked our numbers, I think we may be the number one or close to it dermatology facing podcast now, which is incredible. And I have to say, the reason we've been able to put out episode week by week, I mean, of course, huge thank you to all our guests because that's really they excite us the most. But I also have to thank you, Steph, because I feel like your excitement excites me, and then I think hopefully my rambling maybe excites you, maybe. And
It does.
it's just been going, we've just built it and built it. It's becoming such a cool thing. At which at some points we sit back and we say, "Whoa, what do we do with it?" Good problems to have again when you're sitting there and saying we've grown something so big that maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that, but do we have time for this? Do we have time for that? So good problems to have. Again, we started with keeping this very science-based, very dermatology facing. And we never wavered from that. I mean, it's tempting to talk about things that are maybe just how do you say it? Like we're just topical or fleeting topics just for like attention grabs or things like that that sometimes we see in the media. But we've always kept it to no, we're just here for solid science, nothing more than that. And we were very clear about maybe only 5 people will watch that, but we went for it anyway. And so it's very cool to see that people really. I think there's a shift happening to people wanting evidence-based scientific information in the media. Hopefully it's seeping into social media. Social media, I would say, admittedly, is not an area that we do well. But maybe this year we'll get into the and by that I mean, of course, we're on YouTube, which is social media. We do really great in that long format. I guess I'm talking about that like short format 20-second thing. We don't do that, but
Yeah,
maybe
the
maybe
short
maybe we
clips.
will this year.
Maybe we will. That would be awesome. But going back to your point of keeping it very scientific, that's what's been so beautiful is all your guests are dermatologists or doctors of other um not
Specialties or yeah.
specialties. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, film producer, podcast producer. But yeah, doctors of other specialties and dermatologists, and I think that's what really makes your podcast so specific, and it it gives people like the real answers no matter what they're looking for. I think of all your different topics. You've had eczema, you've had psoriasis, scabies was a topic,
Mhm.
even art and dermatology. Those are some of my
Yep.
very favorite ones with Dr. Vale Reese because it shows how we've pe- people have been dealing with skin issues there for like centuries, and you can see it through that art. And not only is this someone who's like examining art and geeking out over it, this is a dermatologist who is telling you, look at that on that painting, that meant eczema, for example.
Yeah, that episode was great, and actually, this is a good intro too, because he's coming back to SF Derm. Dr. Reese is giving an art in, actually, maybe good segue to talk about SF Derm 2026. It's going to be in August 28th to 30th at the Silicon Valley Four Seasons in Palo Alto. So I'm super excited for it because it's going to be very tech forward, and it's in Palo Alto, and that just really fits. It also I'm changing positions, which is a huge thing for us. Like, we don't change jobs, too often. So I'm opening up a new practice in Palo Alto, and it's not too far away from that Four Seasons. So I think it's all kind of coming together. The practice will open August 1st. SF Derm is happening end of August. So it's a really cool summer, which is also why maybe a few less episodes, but we're going to keep up the cadence once we can. But SF Derm is going to be so cool. The agenda is just action packed. One of the amazing things is that Stephanie always comes down for these events, records the whole thing, and you're incredible how you do that stuff. Like you do hours of recording. What's that experience like for you? Tell us again, what is the SF Derm experience from a non SF Derm member
Well,
viewpoint?
I think I should be an honorary SF
Yeah,
Derm
no,
member
you
at
are.
this
You are
point.
definitely a SFDR member, but I mean, it's like a yeah. What's
I
it like for us to make you listen to 10 hours of dermatology is what I meant.
10
A
hours of
day.
dermatology
A day,
a
multiple
day.
days.
Yeah, it's well, I do know a lot more about skin and hair, a lot more than I ever thought that I would know. But what is really exciting is to see the different doctors take the stage and present on their specialties. And you can really tell like how passionate everybody is about that specialty and about what they're discovering and creating and doing for the public in order to make us, the general public, feel better about ourselves. And like whether it's teaching other doctors and dermatologists how to do this or creating products for us, it's really nice to see and neat to see. And then the after party, getting to know everybody on that deeper of a level and hoping you don't have a
Yeah.
hangover the next day.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you talked about the after party because this wasn't on purpose, but we've become kind of the really educationally forward, high yield conference, but also the best party you'll ever go to conference. I mean, that wasn't on purpose, but I mean, when you get our group together, things just happen. And so this year, let me talk about the party. Of course, the agenda we could talk about. It's action-packed, the agenda, so much high-yield information dermatology-wise. But the Saturday night, so the Four Seasons does this activation event once a year, and it's 1001 nights. It's like this kind of Arabian themed giant genie lamp, and they kind of have the whole area decked out, and you can rent parts of it. I saw this and I said, no, we must rent all of it. So we have this whole area. There's belly dancers coming. I mean, we go extra every year, and this year will be no different.
Oh my
If
goodness.
you're not at that party, I mean, you might be really sad about it for the rest of your life. I
Yeah.
think that's a fair assessment to say. I don't think I'm overselling it by saying that. Or that's the parties are always good, and this year is yeah. So that's all I'll say. There's more surprises at the party than that, but it's going to
Ooh,
be very fun.
I love it. Well, and I want to ask you, with the sessions that are happening, are you going to have any on AI, since that is
Yeah.
a big focus of yours with DermGPT?
Actually, yeah, thank you for asking because I'm so excited about our AI and derm tech panel. We have amazing physicians on this panel. Somehow I got myself on the panel as well, but most importantly, I'm excited for the other panelists. So Dr. Justin Coe from Stanford, Dr. David Wu's coming from Harvard, Dr. Ivy Lee. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out, but it's going to be actually incredible. We have done these panels before where we live streamed on other media platforms. We did that a few years ago, Steph. Actually, you set all of the tech up. We're going to be doing that for this as well. So very cool panel that's happening at SF Derm. Of course, we have a dermatometabolic panel on the Friday, where we'll be talking about all things like we have actually. Let me do a blurb on the Friday. We have all derm talks, but one of the OBGYNs who's coming talking about hormones, Dr. Leah Melheiser. She was on the TEDx event with us. She is incredible. And there's so much I find that we sort of breach with the hormonal world with derm, but we've never really gone deep into, okay, what should we be doing as dermatologists in that role? So she's coming to talk to us about that. But then we have an HS panel, vulvar diseases, metabolics on Friday. Really fun, actually, cocktail dinner event on Friday night too. I know I promoted the Saturday night, but Friday also the event is really fun. And then Saturday, you guys all know Saturday's event packed. Like we start at 7:30 a.m. and we just go like this. This is meant to be your, if you missed every other conference this year in dermatology, you're going to get everything high yield within that day. So we have panels back to back. Dr. Kayvon Nouri's coming from Miami. He's our keynote speaker. And we have alopecia panels. Dr. Koo is doing his big debate again. So the Saturday is just action packed. And then the Sunday, Dr. Jenny Morase, Dr. Timothy Berger, and Dr. Serna El Mariah will do their SF Derm Grand Rounds again. And that event is incredible. Their case discussions. And then Dr. Tarter from UC Davis is doing her Jeopardy with the residents again too, which is
Oh,
actually
so
really fun.
fun.
It's really, really fun to watch. I'm sure there's all sorts of little talks in there that I missed that are also amazing, but those were a few highlights. We should actually, well, maybe we were going to, but we should put the link below this as well. But of course, go to sfderm.org and sign up for SF Derm if you haven't. The meeting does sell out every year. So if you're thinking about going, I would sign up for that now. But yeah, super excited for that. Steph will be there. We'll also be doing a day of podcast recordings as well. And so that's
Yes.
the other thing. If people see you recording the actual meeting, but they don't see that you're also recording multiple days of live podcast
And
recordings too.
those are so fun too, because you get to, most of your recordings are here on Riverside, which is what we're recording on today, because of just everybody's location. A lot of your guests, they're in practice that day. And so like they're seeing patients, they take their lunch break to come talk to you on your podcast, and then they go back to seeing their patients, and you do that as well. But when we get to get them in the room with you, I feel like the conversations are so much deeper, just because you're in that room and you can really play off the energy of the other person sitting across from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Love those episodes. And they've done so well. We had one with a patient, Miles, who talked about atopic dermatitis. This was a crazy cool win last year. So, Time Health, they called me and they had listened to that episode and they said, can we contact this guest, and he is a patient of Dr. Marwa Hakimi, and they said, and he talks about this in the podcast, so this is not like a HIPAA issue that everyone's like, what is she disclosing about this patient? But so they said, is it okay to reach out to him for him to talk to Time Health about eczema and atopic derm? And that was an incredible moment that, and we've had a few of these where we're talking about nerdy, sciencey things in our community and across the US, but we're actually infiltrating larger media as well, which is kind of incredible because then our messaging is getting through.
Absolutely. That is. And I need to talk about a big win for Dr. Farah, who just got on the, what is it, Inc. 500 founders list.
Yes. Well, thank you, Steph. Yeah, the
Yes.
Inc. Female Founder 500 for DermGPT. Now, my humble brag here is I think they were looking for in that category. There's multiple categories of just extremely successful, women, and I'm like, how did I end up on this list? But you talked about imposter syndrome. But basically, I think I'm in the category of women who started health tech AI companies, and I'm guessing that's not a big group, but I'll take it. I will. I will.
That is like whether that group is a small list or not, that is
That
incredible.
was an incredible win. I mean, it validates because sometimes you're doing something that seems right to you and you think there's this for me, building technology and derm just always seemed right because whatever room I was in, whenever I was advocating for tech companies and things to build for derm, we're so small. We're less than 2% of the house of medicine. So we're not a target for anyone to develop direct tools for. And we've really kind of, as demands have gone up, have become super burnt out because of it, because like we're not big enough business or something for which I think we are. I think you can make a case that we really are, but it's not an obvious thing given our numbers. So building tech for dermatologists was something I was like, I'm gonna do regardless of, whatever kind of comes out of it. Like this is something that needs to be done. And I saw as like a department chair, all the issues that our derms were having. But then now to actually have the world kind of say, that was a cool thing you did. It's a good moment. So it's a really good moment.
That is huge. And yeah, congratulations.
Oh, thanks so much. So
To
yeah, that was incredible. Yeah, and it's crazy. I've been to a couple of the Inc. events,
uh-huh.
and there was one. I'm like sitting there, and there's like Eva Longoria, and there's Molly Sins on the other side, and there was another event with Rodana Fields and Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank was on, and I'm like, what's happening right now? We started talking about medical dermatology and AI, and somehow I'm in the room with cool people because the things we're talking about are intuitively not quote, quote, cool, right? I'm talking about workflows and optimizing your in basket messaging and not spending, pajama time at night writing notes in your healthcare chart. So for that to lead to actually being in kind of these rooms, I'm like, well, that's pretty cool.
That is
Deep doctor workflows are becoming hot right now.
well, as they should be, just based on what I've listened to for the last 3 years, over 130 episodes. Doctors
Yeah.
need help. You don't want to be doing that stuff in bed. You want to be spending
Yeah.
time with your family and taking care of yourself, which is so very important. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome.
And people talk about AI taking over some roles and then creating space for other things, and people are like, "Well, what's that other thing?" And I think, like you said, we've demonstrated on this podcast, all these things that the doctors are coming on and talking about so passionately, they're adding this on to their day. They had a busy day and they made time for half an hour to talk about this topic, talk about this research project. These are their true passions, not 5 hours of clicking stuff. So if we can help them win back a little bit of time to do more of what their passion is, which actually ends up helping everyone else as well because they're doing amazing work. I mean, I think that's a huge win if these like actual things, actualize. So, but it's been great. I mean, Durham GPT, I am so proud of, and you're probably sick of hearing it because I'm always telling you all the updates before we start podcasts. But we have like over 5,000 derms using it like daily now. We've had over 23,000 derms, PAs, NPs engage with Derm GPT at some point. Like there's 5,000 that use it often, But it's
Wow.
crazy the reach we've had. We're like a team of 3 people, no marketing, no, it's just all organic growth. That's very cool too. That's been a
That is,
very cool experience.
yeah, that is very cool. And to know that it's such a small team, that right there also shows your passion with everything that you do. And whether this was part of the nomination to get you on that 500 ink list or not, the work that you're doing to help dermatologists and all of the rest of us is just like that speaks to it.
Yeah, so it's really, really fun. But yeah, Steph, what else is going on with you? What should we know about before everyone sees you in August in Palo Alto?
Well,
Putting you
we
on
are
the
past
spot.
our time. We're past our time.
Oh, this is when you cut me off. This is Steph's job. Okay, that was convenient, Steph. When it comes to me putting her on the spot, well, that's her time. We gotta, because this is what Steph does. She sends me
Gotta cut it.
messages, texts. She's like, you're going over the time, over the time. Um, no, I think we could allow 1 minute to, okay, how about this? We always end with the Future of Dermatology podcast and, what we're excited for the future. What's our future, Steph? What are you excited about in the next year for the podcast?
Ooh, the next year for the podcast, I would say even more guests and perhaps people that we have yet to meet because a lot of
Mhm.
your guests are kind of based in the San Francisco area. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And so I
True.
would say like an expansion of guests and an expansion of listeners and watchers and maybe watching that focus shift on topics because you have started focusing a little more on AI and
Mhm.
dermatology. And I see that growing even further as more people start to ask the questions about AI, dermatology, and recognizing that you still need the actual people that are going to give you the answers that you need. Like you can, I can't ask AI what is this thing on my skin. I need to go physically to a dermatologist.
Thank God we still have jobs. Yeah. Thank God that doesn't work fully. But that is a great point, Steph. We are a little bit West Coast heavy just because we're here and our colleagues are either in Northern California or Southern California. So maybe to all our listeners, if you have colleagues in other, and this has happened, some of our other colleagues from other universities, it's usually been when someone recommended them. So if anybody wants more guests from certain regions that we're not touching as highly, just send us their name and their topic and what you want to hear about because it's true. We do have to broaden because our viewers are everywhere. Some are even in other
Mhm.
countries, but yet we are kind of West Coast heavy just because of regionally. This is our crowd. This is our crew. There's actually just also a lot of dermatologists in California. I think we're the largest, largest state, but in terms of like the quantity of us, but everyone's just kind of come into these areas. Again, that speaks to there are areas of the country with dermatology deserts where there's none of us. That's a whole issue. We should talk about
That
that
is,
too, actually, in one
oh,
episode.
that would be a great topic for an episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, it's
Because
good. Well,
there are,
yeah.
yeah, I've been listening to some different podcasts about different areas of health and some of those deserts, and I won't get specific on what type of health issues they are, but there are deserts where people really need telehealth, for example,
Yeah.
because they can't get to a doctor or a specialist anywhere near them. So great idea.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you're doing. These are so fun. Hopefully, we can do this more often and not once every 2 years.
I agree.
But I love the behind the scenes episodes. So you're gonna hear from me and Steph, maybe just a little bit less than every Tuesday over the next month or two over the summer as we're doing all the things. But as soon as we can after August, we're coming hard every Tuesday. But we still have episodes coming over the summer. So
Oh, yes.
watch out for them. And then if you have any, as always, if you have any recommendations for things we should be speaking on, send it over to us. But thank you so much, Steph.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on the Future of Dermatology podcast. If you enjoyed learning about the science behind skin, make sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time. As a reminder, this podcast is for educational purposes only, not for medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider.